It's showtime, baby.
Mm.
There is New England Betty Boop. Hey, Lizette. So I was just saying to Thomas, next Tuesday is you and Andrew, right? So we're going to go into another couple talk. Make sure your Wi-Fi and all that stuff is good. And is the Posh Den going to pop on tonight?
Who's the Posh Den?
It's her husband. It's Andrew. He's the Posh
Okay.
Den. You're Posher Dude X. He's the Posh Den. So they're going to be on next week. I'm actually interviewing Lizette on the podcast. I'm probably going to talk about that. I have a new series that I'm going to have called Conversation with Friends. So today, hello. There's Nikki. I'm glad Glow Girl Glow came in because she has the most questions. I have them all down on my paper. There is Lori, Seattle Gal Style. Hello, I am Leslie Tucker, and I am a reseller's passion. And this handsome guy over here he's chewing. I was going to let him introduce, like, I don't want to do all the talking for him. So he decides to eat something right at the time when he's supposed to go into his spiel and talk about himself. So for those who don't know, I did advertise yesterday. This is a Q&A. If you have any questions for Thomas, any questions, we can refuse to answer, but you can put any questions in the comments. Okay, Lizette says men. For real, right? Any questions in the comments? Lizette has asked some questions. Nikki has asked some questions. I have some questions that I wrote down. But as you come in, please just say hello so that we can know who's here, because the numbers indicate that the people are here. So we want to know and say hello to everyone. And now he's going to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Thomas, also known as Posher Dude X.
Okay. So tonight we're going to have a Q&A. There's the Posh. There he is. Hey, Andrew, what's going on, friend? So today is the last episode where we're just going to do just random question and answers. Starting next month, we've decided to go forward with Tucker Talks. It seems to be successful. Even when people don't show up for the lives, there's a lot of views afterwards when the replay hits. So we're going to start coming up with structured shows. If it's something that you want to see or hear, please let us know. We're going to have guests on the last show of the month, the last Tuesday of the month, maybe couples, maybe individuals. I think couples. I think we'll keep it at couples. Next Tuesday, we're going to have Andrew and Lizette on. I'm thinking Lizette has told Andrew that he's going to be on with us. So hopefully I'm not spoiling that. But if you have any questions, please put your questions in the comments. And then I'm going to start. All these questions are going to be, I'm going to ask Thomas. Most of the people in the community already know me. You know a lot about me. I'm very transparent. I share a lot. And because we're doing this Tucker Talks, I want people to know a little bit more about Thomas going forward. If you do not follow Posher Dude X on Instagram, please do that. We want to build up his community, and so he can see like how far he goes, and we can maybe convince him to start his own YouTube channel so that I can guest on there on occasion. So we're going to start off. So the first question is from Nikki. Nikki, if you look on the comments, she's Glow Girl Glow. And the first question she asked, besides reselling, what are the other ways to make money?
Well, I'm a believer in multiple streams of income. I was trying to have Leslie have us introduce a bunch of books I've read, but one of the books I've read in the past is by an author. His name is Robert Allen, and it's called Multiple Streams of Income. So I read that book many years ago, probably 15 years ago, and I decided that's what I want to do. So right now, obviously I'm doing Poshmark and Mercari. I was doing eBay, and I think I may get back into eBay on a real limited basis. I have a clean out business. I clean out garages and basements, whatever needs to be done. I also haul scrap metal. I have a pension. I took early Social Security, so I have as many streams of income as I can get coming in, because I don't really want to have to answer to a boss.
Yeah,
That's just something I can't do. So that's all the things I'm doing. But a good thing to do is go online to YouTube and look up side hustles. There's a million people telling you 100 different ways you can make money on your own. So that's a good way to start if you don't know, what else you can do. But those are the things I'm doing. And I'm looking into getting back involved in stock market and futures and some other things that I did in the past. So I'm going to have as many things going as I can. So I don't have to get a just over broke, or in other words, a job.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really good. I'm going to say hi to Wanda, who just popped in. I see other people who have popped in. Just say hi or raise your hand. Hopefully you have an account, and because we want to acknowledge you. Everyone drop your closets and your Instagrams and communicate with each other. If you have any questions for Thomas, drop them in the comments and I'll highlight them on the screen. He's doing some weird stuff now. You see what I have to deal with? Do you see what I have to deal with? Okay, so for those of you who missed that, Thomas said he has a pension and Social Security. So what that means is he's a little bit older than some of us, So, and he's worked. Pension, you got to work. That's some years in there. I think I know Andrew can relate to that. That's when you've been on a job for a long time. Okay. And so we're going to go to that. Nikki has more questions, but since I'm talking about jobs as you've done, you used to be a firefighter for how many years?
25 years in 1 month.
So for 25 years, you were a firefighter. Is that what we call you? Is that correct? Terminology, firefighter?
That's politically correct, yeah.
Yes. So my question to you, this is coming from me as your wife. How old were you when you became a firefighter, and why did you decide to become a firefighter?
24 is the age I started. I decided to become a firefighter because at the time I had a young son and I had to have some steady income to help raise him. Over the years, I had a bunch more kids. So once I got into the system, I decided I liked it and I stayed. But that's the main reason. I had to have steady income. At the time, I had dropped out of college. I did a little stint in the military, and I got out of the military, and I'm like, what do I do now? I found that military experience, at least back then, wasn't really generating the type of jobs that I wanted, wasn't generating the kind of jobs that would pay me the money I wanted to make. So I had actually tested for the fire department several years before, and a program, I can't think of the name of it right now, they kept me and another gentleman on the list for a period of almost 5 years. We were on the list.
Wow.
So we were the last two guys from that list to get hired.
And so normally, so you were 24. So what's the normal age that they were hiring back then?
Oh, anything over 18.
Anything over 18.
18 with a high school diploma. That's all you needed back then.
And so now it's changed. So what do they require you to have now to?
Well, it has changed somewhat. Well, it's still basically the same. But see, the thing is, it's hard to get a promotion now because now the colleges have introduced a fire science curriculum. So it's harder to get promoted unless you take some of these fire science courses. So you can actually get a bachelor's degree in fire science.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm going to pull up New England Betty Boop, and that again is Lizette. And here's her question to you, Thomas.
Mm-hmm. There's something about being on camera that makes my nose itch. I cannot figure it out.
Okay, turn away. Oh my gosh, too funny.
Okay. Do I like to cook? Yeah, I do. My favorite thing to cook is lately I've been trying out meals from different parts of the world. Like I made recently a Brazilian fish stew. I love doing Caribbean recipes. I've dabbled with some West African recipes. So I like things that are very spicy and tasty at the same time. I don't really like standard American food unless my wife cooks it, because she's able to cook things, that are standard and they'll come out superb. But when I cook, it's going to be spiced up.
Yeah. So anything that has jerk sauce in it, Thomas will eat it. Let's put it like that. So, you know that adage, that thing they say about Black folks. If you don't, we all carry a bottle of hot sauce around with us. So, well, this is also the thing, Lizette. He likes to cook, but he's not really interested in cooking for everyone because he feels that not everyone likes his food. And that's just because he likes a lot of spicy and jerk stuff. I didn't raise the children like that. They just like he said, basic everyday meals, and then they could add the condiments and things that they like. That's how you get children to eat. You know, sometimes you get them to eat spicy, but just everyday vegetables and chicken and we didn't eat a lot of beef when they were growing up, but just basic stuff. So he doesn't really cook for everyone. He'll go downstairs and cook, and I come downstairs and it'll be gone because he's just cooked for himself. So, you know, and that's why I don't cook a lot, because everyone in our house cooks. Thomas is a little older than me, so he was cooking even before I was born. So that's why I'm okay with not.
Hey, I'm really not that old.
Well, you were cooking food when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, well, yeah. I had 7 siblings, so
yeah,
I was cooking for them since I was probably 5 or 6.
I didn't mean it because you were old, because hopefully by the time, I mean, I know in our community growing up, my kids were all cooking by the time they were 8. And when you have a lot of siblings and your parents are like, look, you got to take care of everybody, I know you were cooking. So you were like 11 3/4 when I was born. So by then, most kids are cooking something. Okay. So, hey, Wendy, how are you? Thank you, Wendy. Yes, I'm making these custom shirts, but I love all your shirts too. It's doing something to my light though. The pink is doing something to my light in the background, because all my lights are on the same lights, but the pink is making it look dark or something. So, but you know, why not wear what you make? That's a great advertisement. So for those of you who don't understand that, use your own products. There's no one's going to buy from you if you don't use or wear or advertise your own products.
Yeah, well, she just said that she had a weird need to name her shirts. That'd be called branding. You know, brand your stuff.
Yeah, definitely brand your stuff. It's really important to do that. I just started a brand new tie-dye store. It's totally done. I have 100 items in there, so check it out. And I'm designing these custom shirts. That giveaway that I did, remember, people were sending me DMs like, how can I get a shirt? For $25, you can pick 2 colors and get a shirt made. Okay. Yes, definitely, Nikki. You're working on that planner. So once it's out, you know, it says, so Andrew says, Thomas, this old thing is getting old.
Yeah. Tell her to stop calling me old.
I did not call him old.
I am seasoned.
So that is the key, though. I didn't call him old because I just show you that he's a little older than me. Now you have to say older. I don't say old, because there is a difference between 50 and 62. You know. So, but also he has knowledge. He's had experience of things that I haven't experienced. So that's why I do like to talk about the age difference, not necessarily because I think he's old. Okay, so there's Courtney. Hello, Courtney. I saw a couple other people. Hey, Heather came in a little while ago, but it's okay. If you don't feel old, then it's not a big deal, Andrew. Yeah, so what the thing with customs is, you just let them, that's why I'm not getting into anything crazy, Wendy. So that's why I just did exactly like I did last week. I say to them, they can pick their size. I put the colors that are available. They just go into my website and pick their colors, and it's what they want. They get an idea. Like this, I did a teal and a pink, and this is what it turns out to be. I'm calling it a surprise custom shirt. My old business used to be Surprise Designer, so it's similar to that, you know. So that's what she said. Now there's that, Andrew. Andrew's old too. These guys are going to get on us, Lizette. You better stop. So I love Andrew. There you go, Andrew. He said we're seasoned and well preserved. Very nice, until those aches and pains start getting to you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing New England Betty Boop. Is her brother sick with COVID or something?
No, her brother had a accident. He had he was on a motorcycle and he got hurt really bad. So he had 2 surgeries on his legs and his arms, and thankfully he had a helmet. That's what saved him. And so Wendy says, Thomas, my husband is the same age as you. I'm in the marry the older man club. I always tell him he doesn't have to look for a younger woman. He always has one. Yes, I love it, Wendy. We're young and spry. I love it. Wendy's another good friend of mine. Okay, so so I'm going to go to the third question, and this one is from Nikki, Glow Girl Glow again. And Nikki's all about the money. She wants your expertise and your experience. She says, what item can new resellers sell to make $1,000 within 90 days?
I'm going to stick with shoes, specifically Nike sneakers. I can't keep a pair of Nike sneakers, especially if they're fairly modern. I would try to find a source to get some Nikes. Nikes, believe it or not, cowboy boots, even vintage cowboy boots will sell. But I think if you wanted to make that kind of money in 90 days, I would try to find a supplier to get some sneakers, or as they call them, basketball shoes.
Tennis shoes, running shoes.
Yeah, running shoes.
Tennis shoes. When I was growing up, tennis shoes was like West Coast, but I asked that question before, and some people like New Yorkers say tennis shoes. So track shoes, running shoes, sneakers. They're sneakers to me, but that's a Philly thing. But yeah, definitely he's definitely doing. So for everyone that's joining us, I see a couple people have jumped on number wise. So just raise your hand and say hello so we can acknowledge you. Deb Ladetta's just hello. Thank you for joining us. And everybody, yes, we're so happy that Lizette's brother is doing well. And we send prayers and well wishes. She hasn't been able to see him. And especially with everything going on, and hopefully he gets better soon because he's in New Jersey and it's there in Massachusetts. So this is Glow Girl Glow. She says she's doing a challenge next month, trying to make at least $1,000 in 90 days reselling. So I think you can do it. If you check out Chris from Daily Refinement, that's one of the things that he's teaching in like his group. Stable movement. Hello. What's going on, friend? And check out a lot of his videos. Thomas likes Chris. He talks a lot about like what does Chris talk about? Did you like
renewables?
Renewables. And what is a renewable?
It's really just what it sounds like. Something that people need or want and that they'll buy repetitively. So you get a supplier that has those items and you can sell them over and over and over again. And I guess it makes it easier to list because I know if you got 500 of them, you can list all 500 at a time. So
yeah, definitely.
I guess I'm a little hesitant because you turned me on to that site where I could get the shoes. I think I'm going to do it this week. Just get myself some, brand new shoes. So
yeah, we talked about this before, and I know that Wendy was having some challenges finding, like there's tons of liquidation places out there. If you Google what you're looking for, you can find them, and your best bet is trying to find something local so that you can actually go, because with liquidation, you have to think about shipping, but there are so many of them. That's why a lot of people don't share their secrets, not that the liquidation place themselves is going to run out, but there are so many places that you can get like sneakers and t-shirts, all kinds of things. So just really do your work and you can see. And then so Andrew says, yeah, he saw that. Yeah, definitely Chris from Daily Refinement is a good resource. He's been around for a while. He used to be 10K on the Bay, and now he is Daily Refinement because he said it's about refining what you're doing every single day. Just tweaking it. You have to really just work your business. For those who aren't making sales or struggling, it's not always about the item. It's about you personally, because you get stuck in a rut. So now it's time for you to really revamp what you're doing, figure out what you're doing wrong. We've all done it, right, Thomas? You've had to figure out, like, if things are slow, right, trying to figure out a better way to do it.
And also, there's always some things that always sell. For example, to the workman, anytime I get anything with the word Carhartt on it, it will sell. Yeah. Any time of year, it will sell. Any size. Like, for example, I sold a 6X jacket a couple of weeks ago. Here it is June. Yeah. They'll buy it because it really is a quality product because I wear them myself. Anything with Carhartt on it, boom, will sell. Anything that's, like I said, fairly new, that's Nike. There are certain shoe brands that always sell, always. Like Uggs. Yeah. Uggs sell year round. Yeah. It's amazing. So if you can get a supply of those name brands, you will make the money. Yeah. Someone just asked me about diabetes. I think it was around 10 years ago. I'm a type 2. I didn't have it as a child, and I'm just on pills. I'm not to the point where I need to take insulin or anything. So, yeah. So I guess I was early 50s.
What stage are you in?
What stage?
Are
I
you
don't know what they mean by that. I'm a type 2.
Type, yeah.
Yeah.
Type 2.
Type 2, yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends on what I eat and when I eat.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can not to eat late at night. So when I wake up in the morning, when I check my blood sugar, it's pretty low. So I'm pretty good. So
yeah, he doesn't have to take shots. He takes pills. So that right there in itself is a good thing to have to stab the orange all the time. Okay, let me go down. Nikki asked a question. There she is.
Should I be listed every day on eBay or pick days and be consistent?
He's not good for that question. So I'm just playing.
It really depends on what you're selling and how it's selling. I found that listing just for the sake of listing because you want to have certain numbers, especially if you're on eBay, is going to end up costing you a lot of money if it doesn't sell. So personally, I'm doing 5 things at a clip, like 5 things a day that I'm pretty sure will sell at some point. There's different theories as to what you should do. For the guy we're talking about, he was 10K on the Bay. He had 10,000 active listings at one time, but he got into the renewables. So it depends on what it is. For example, if I get a load, I just got a load of Levi's, and I got the load by going through my dead pile. I'm going to have all those listed tonight. So I'll have maybe 10 tonight. I'll go pick up some shoes at the end of the week. I have all those listed within a day or two. So it really depends on what you're selling and how well they sell. But listing for the sake of listing, I think it defeats the purpose. You want to make money, so you want your efforts to be fruitful.
And he can actually attest to that because Thomas, when in like literally like it's going to be a couple weeks when the flea market opens back up. So this is like an odd year. He usually does the flea market a lot from the spring until it gets too hot, and then comes back from the fall until it gets too cold. So not only does he resell, he works the flea market, and then he just added on the clean out business. So imagine working all these businesses. He really only takes like a couple days and sits down. Like he'll focus on shoes today, and then he'll probably have like the Carhartts a couple days later because he's working these other businesses. So he can definitely attest to that. And he knows that like once he sits down and he lists, he'll take like the whole day and take like photos, and then he'll come back and list, or on Poshmark, he'll take a photo and list as he's going along. So that's like really great advice for people who think that they have to consistently list. I don't list every day either. The cool thing about Poshmark now is the copy listing feature is a game changer, like 100%. So if you have a lot of stale items, pull up that inventory report and go through all your items and start relisting them. It's the best time. With the relisting feature, I've probably sold about 30 items that have been sitting, and I relist all the time. So that's an opportunity. If you don't want to list new items, do the relisting, do the copy listing feature as a substitute for yourself. Okay, then Nikki again says, that's exactly how I feel. I'm listing just to be listing. I need to list the items that will sell, like you said. And that's the key to it, is learning. So Nikki literally, I love Nikki because she's actually soaking up all this knowledge. She only started selling in January, but she took the ball and started running with it. And so here is Wendy. Go ahead.
Do I work my reselling business every day? In a sense, I do. I'm monitoring things. I've just started. I actually took my wife's advice for a change, and I just started relisting. And I found it to be successful as well. When I do that, I make money. So I do work it every day, but I don't do the same thing every day. I'm shipping. I'm relisting. Then some days I'm actually listing new things. So it depends on what I'm doing during the course of the day. My goal is to give up some of the hands-on things like the flea market. I'm not going to be doing that this year too much. I'm going to do it maybe 2 or 3 times. And so I'm going to be listing more. I'm trying to get myself to the point where I'm a full-time reseller,
Mhm.
the way Miss Leslie is.
Well, technically I'm part reseller, handmade seller, and all the other things that I do. But what I want to touch on, one thing that Thomas said, which is really important, which people don't really think about when they're running their business. Everything that you're doing within your business is reselling every day. So if you're not listing today and you've made some sales, you're shipping today. You know, you're creating an inventory system. You're taking photographs. So every aspect of your business is working your business. You just have to come up with a system that's going to work for you, especially if you work from outside of the home or you have small children and you have other responsibilities. You know, I'm all about that, trying to create a schedule that you can work within. So again, you can do a whole lot. You can batch work, take all your pictures on Sunday and break it down. You know, if you're on Poshmark, you can share every day, but you don't have to list every day. It's 7 days in the week. List 3 days. Copy list a couple days. But you don't have to do everything that you hear everyone doing. But I say try it so you can figure out what works for you. Because there are so many people who you can't even always believe what other people are doing in their businesses. You just have to focus on what's going on in your business. Okay, look, Nikki is like, listen. She said, I'm trying to find out some stuff. Are there any apps you recommend to check comps besides the platform you're selling on or Sellhound?
I use starting with eBay, because eBay, especially when you look at the things that have sold already, it'll give you a vast range, and I try to come in toward the middle. Sometimes I'll go to the manufacturer's site. For example, I was talking about Uggs. I'll go to their site and look at what their prices are for new, and I'll use that, just make it a little bit less than new, because obviously I didn't pay new prices. So I generally use eBay and the manufacturer's site to get an idea of how to price things.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback off of that. I use eBay a lot. What people, my thing is, people think eBay is like just this place to sell junk or everyday stuff. You can get really good money for things on eBay. People are selling everyday stuff on eBay. There are people who are making more money on eBay than they are on Poshmark. So if you're coming from Poshmark, of course you're going to have the mindset that eBay is just this platform. Oh, I can just sell anything. It's an international company that's been around for many years. So like Thomas, I check comps on eBay. Anything that I list on Mercari, I check comps on eBay, because Mercari hasn't been around long enough. So like if I go into Mercari and I have something, there may be only 1 or 2 things in there. But if I go to eBay, there's been plenty of things in there. And you would say, well, why wouldn't you sell on eBay? You know why? Because there's not a lot of those items on Mercari. I just need eBay to help me figure out what the comps are. I use Poshmark too, but then I don't use anyone's comps. I find a middle ground, because that's how you make the sales and you're competitive. Because if you price up what everyone else is pricing, you're not going to make any sales. That's why your stuff is going to sit. And the purpose of selling is to move your stuff.
Yeah, because on eBay, you can sell everything from a pair of socks to a car, anything, any and everything. There's some people, and I used to do it myself, that would buy a certain car. At the time, I was buying Lincoln Town cars because that's what they were using. They don't use them for limos anymore. But I would get a Lincoln that wasn't running very well and cover it up with a tarp, and I'd part that sucker out. Every little thing on a car, somebody needs it or wants it. I'd part the car out, make 10 times what I spent for the car, So eBay does have its. eBay is good for some things, I'll put it that way. And I'm seriously considering going back to eBay in a limited amount.
Yeah. So I agree with Lizette. When I first started selling, the majority of my items were bread and butter, because Thomas and I, our main sourcing place is the bin. So you go in there and you find something at, like, what does it cost us? 50 to 80 cents, depending on what your average is for all the items. And I just list it for whatever, but I'm the same way. I kind of have an idea of what something's going to cost. So I very rarely check comps. If it's an item I've never sold before, then I want to make sure I'm getting the best value that I can. So I go in and I kind of, I go to the actual, like Thomas said, the manufacturer site, and then also eBay and Poshmark to kind of see. But if it's something that I've, it's like Danskos, I already know what I want to get for some Danskos. I already know what I want to get for the everyday brands that I sell. So that is a really good point that Lizette made, because it's her business and she knows what she's going to get for these items.
And also, I've said it before several times. I price things based on what I paid for them.
Yeah.
So for example, if I run across a bargain, because like occasionally I run across brand new cowboy boots,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to try to get new prices for them, even though they're brand new. I'm like, okay, I got $20 into these boots. They're worth about $150. Maybe I'll sell them for like $85 to $90. That's how I do it. I will check the comps on eBay and the manufacturers, but I pretty much base it on what I paid for it.
Yeah. And then Andrew, this is Andrew. Thomas can totally relate to this.
Exactly. That's it in a nutshell. I looked at my metrics, as they call it, and 1 month, I think there was a month where I made several $1,000s. I was really doing well, but then I looked at how much I was paying in fees. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but I had a lot of things listed. I had 500 or 600 items listed. Now of course I didn't sell all 500 or 600 items, but I was paying fees for stuff that wasn't selling. And then after 3 or 4 months, some of the things were so cheap that I paid what I paid for it in fees.
Yeah.
So it wasn't worth it. But and also they have a little, I don't want to put them down. Like I said, I may go back to them on a limited basis. Like Glow Girl Glow says, Glow Girl Glow. Who is that person?
Glow Girl Glow.
That is Nikki.
That's Nikki.
Okay. I forgot what I was going to say. I got old timers disease.
You said old timers, not Alzheimer's, old timers.
Yeah.
But you were saying that you're going to go back and sell a little bit. Start maybe selling a few limited items on there.
Well, it's gonna end up being the work gear. I find that the work gear, like the work boots, the Carhartt coveralls and overalls, my electronics. I think I'll do all right with that, and won't. I'm really going back on a limited basis. Maybe have 25 things a month on there, and just leave it.
I think that's a good number because they probably sell right away. You already have an idea. So, Nikki, what you're saying is only men's items. That's what Thomas, when I met him, he really was only selling like men's stuff. I mean, he kind of got into women's when I started reselling, because he was the person who sourced for me. I said, sweetie, I tell everybody that for probably about the first 6 months, I didn't go sourcing. He would get stuff. I just say, pick up some women's clothes. So he started, now he's selling, he's into shoes. He wasn't doing all that stuff when I first met him. And so
but it's still mostly men's stuff I sell.
Yeah.
My women's inventory is slowly dwindling down. But I'm selling a lot of men's shoes, men's footwear, men's jeans.
Yeah, shoes and sneakers.
So, because it's what I know. You sell what you know.
Yeah, and that's it. Because Nikki was telling me that she was saying on, I think, a chat or something, on how she's selling like her boyfriend's stuff, and it's selling. So you may have to flip that script and change it to men's stuff. If that's selling for you, why keep inventory that's not like really moving? So this is your time to kind of play around with it and see. Or you can do what you're doing. Keep men's stuff on eBay and women's stuff on Poshmark. Thomas was a little bit like that when he first started selling on Poshmark. He kind of had the mindset that it was like women's stuff, so he was selling more women's stuff.
Well, I think it was actually at one time just women's stuff.
Yeah, the year that I started in 2016, I started selling in April. By October, that's when they bought men's and children's stuff on at the same time. So previous to that, it was all women's, and then they started bringing all the other stuff on. But if you're just starting to sell, you're very fortunate because you can sell just about anything. But another reason, if you're not able to sell everything, it's because the people who are dedicated customers are still not used to all this home stuff and games and everything. They just want to see clothes. They're like resistant to it. So just stick with what you know and keep trying it out. Have your boyfriend, whatever he doesn't want, take it. Don't invest in a whole lot. That's the problem also. You sell something and now you want to go out and buy 20 of it. Don't do that. Okay, so I have a question that I have a couple more from Nikki, but I'm going to jump there. Oh, no. I'm going to go back up here. This is a personal question, and he can answer this from two different ways, Nikki. So how was it living in a household with the majority of women? So he grew up with a household of women, kind of, sort of, and when we got married, we had all these girls. So I don't know what you want to answer to.
Well, it's different because when I grew up, actually, it was more boys than girls. But my brothers are like 10 years younger than I. So, in my formative years when I was a teenager, it was mostly
my boy. I forgot.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Well, see, my sisters are older than my brothers, so it was mostly me and my sisters. Um, you're very protective of your sisters, and you don't you don't let anybody bother them and all that stuff. And like I said, my brothers are all at least 10 years younger than I. So, when in my first marriage, it was the same thing. It was a house full of, I had 3 girls and 2 boys that came to live with me from their mothers. I had the pleasure of raising all my kids. Um, and my way of dealing with children is quite a bit different than her. I was, we get the work done. So when it's time to get some work done, you're going to get out there and do it. I'm going to be right there with you, but you're going to get out there and do it. So there was no like girls work, boys work. We're going to get out there and we're going to cut the grass. We're going to rake the leaves. If I need you to help me do something, you're going to help me do it. It's not going to be like you're going to stay in the house. So I guess the term would be I'm more old school. And so, yeah, see?
What I was going to say is that is different. When we moved here, he never asked the girls to do anything, but as a single mom of 5 children, all my children did everything. So when I met Thomas, they were raking leaves and shoveling snow and putting out trash. There is no boy-girl work. That's why they know it. That's why I'm going like, I don't know. Like even now, he'll have his daughter come over and cut grass, and we have 2 girls living here. So I never said don't have, that is a decision, that was, I guess that's, he figured that's how I raised them. But no, they were out there mowing the lawn, all the stuff that I did, even in being married. He just says, no, I got it. And the next thing I know, his youngest daughter coming cutting the grass. So, but he does have a different different way about things than I do. And that's male, female, that's generational. And but then at one time, like we have 7 girls between us. So how was that for you, Thomas?
Girls talk a lot. You talk. And then when you want them to talk, they don't want to talk. Sometimes I'm riding in the car with my youngest or your youngest, and they're just chatting away, like, mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's funny.
And then they'll stop talking, they're on their phone, and then when I want to talk to them, okay. So girls are a different experience.
Yeah.
I think that girls will temper a man's, hostilities if you have any, I've had to learn to temper mine. So, okay.
Yeah, he gets that. That's because his wife. I'm a gentle persuader. I'm like, whatever, I've been through worse. So, hey, Quimby, thanks for stopping in. And Lizette said, and he rolls his eyes. Yes. So, yeah, he thinks we do have different philosophies, totally different philosophies. So bringing that together can be a little bit of a challenge in terms of things. But one thing I will say, it doesn't matter what our philosophy is. All of our children are high school graduates who are moved on to accomplish great things. And if they haven't yet, they're on their way. So regardless of what things are different with us, coming together, we raised wonderful children. So there's that. Nikki had Lizette had a question.
Not a lot. That's something I did as far as DVDs and CDs back when eBay was kind of new. I sold tons of them back there. But now every now and then I'll sell one. I try to sell the ones that are new and still in the cellophane wrapping. Matter of fact, I've sold all the ones that I run across.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to specialize in just everything new. Like all my listings are eventually are going to end up, if it's not shoes, are going to end up being stuff new with tags. But no, I don't think that's a big seller for me. It's just
Yeah.
not something you know, because now we're now in the age of streaming. Everybody's streaming. You can you can stream on your phone, you can stream on your computer, your laptop, your iPad. Everything is streaming these days. So I think we're pretty much just like the cassette went the way of the dinosaur, and DVDs is going out, and 8 track. I started driving cars when they still had 8 tracks in the car. I
If
thought that
you
was
don't
I
know
thought
the track, you need to
yeah,
research that. But
yeah.
again, what I will piggyback off of Thomas though is all the things that he's mentioning now, they're in the vintage category. So
Mhm.
I sell those things in a vintage, like on my Etsy store, some stuff on Macari, but on my Etsy store, I have like a cassette player. Then if you find cassettes, that's the kind of stuff you should be selling. If you have 8 tracks, that's the kind of stuff that you can sell on Etsy as vintage. Those things that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, when you go to the bins or wherever and you find it, check your comps right there in the store. So the DVDs, like Thomas said, it's kind of right there. So it's not that old yet, but in 20 years, they'll be vintage and people will be looking for those DVDs. But anything I would, because I was trying to explain to Thomas, like what is, what considers vintage, anything from his childhood is the stuff that is people are buying. Like I just sold I moved all my handmade items off my first Etsy store, and now I have all my tie-dye on. And so I made a sale, and I'm going, oh, I made a new sale on my new store, but no, it's still on my vintage store. I have a vintage plate. I only listed one, but I have 15 plates, and I was like, okay, well, that's sold, and let me list some more because I try not to overwhelm myself. But you never know what's going to sell.
Yeah, and there's also there's a guy on YouTube. He's I think he's Russian or Polish because he has a thick accent, but he's called the Craigslist Hunter, and he
Mhm.
sells lots of vintage VCRs and VHS players, uh, combination DVD because they make a combination DVD VHS. He sells a lot of vintage things, and if you want to get an idea of what sells, he does a list sometimes of about 50 things I sold, and a lot of things he sells are vintage.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize you could find these things and sell them.
Yeah.
But we're not running to the bins because of COVID and other reasons. But when things change, I'll be going back, and I kind of know what to look for. But he's called the Craigslist Hunter
Yeah, I'm gonna look.
on YouTube.
I wrote that down. So Quimby, the Grateful Queen is Quimby. Where will you source new of tag items, Thomas? Shoes too.
Um, I have so many things left over from when I was going to the bins. I have at least, I would say, 50 pairs of different types of pants for men's and women, men and women, men and women, and I'm not going to be looking for anything as far as clothing is concerned because I've got plenty. As far as shoes, I'm gonna start getting shoes from some of the wholesale places that Leslie mentioned, but also it's good to make a friend. I have a friend that works at a Goodwill, and he actually buys shoes from them because they let the employees buy shoes, and he gives me great, sometimes new, sometimes close to new stuff that I need. So it's about relationships and connections. So he's my connection. You know, he gets them. I go to his house, maybe twice a month, grab them from him, and I'm good.
And I benefit that too because I don't pay anything for those. So Quimby has been asking a lot because she's in California. So she's like, whose stores are open? Every store in our state is now open, Quimby. So all our Goodwills, our bins. Thomas went the first day. So all our stores are open. I'm just not ready to go out and deal with it. But Thomas, you went on the first day, and it's someone who's they follow me on Instagram, and they're in right over the PA line, but they go to our bins. When you went, did they have the number system?
Yes.
Yes. So she showed
Yeah.
how they had three. It was three of them together, so they had the numbers, and they talked about how you can only go in our bins. You can only go. They're only taking 40 people at a time, and you have to tell them if you're going to hard goods or clothes. You can't go to both. If you want to start all over again, you have to go outside and get in line again. So it's too much hassle for me. They were talking about all this distancing, and then Thomas is like, you have to, they ring the bell or something, you got to move. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good for a minute. I'm really good. And then Andrew says,
yeah, it's a pain.
Yeah.
And also it's kind of unfair because when you first come in, they assign you a bin. That's the bin you go to. Now you can start looking through that bin while you're there. So once everybody gets in the building, they ring the bell every 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds to go through that bin and go to the next one. Now the thing is, a lot of people are looking for some of the same things. So if somebody's at that bin, you're not going to be able to find it. So you go from bin to bin to bin to bin. But you know, the first person at that bin gets the gold.
Gets the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's you know,
yeah.
Basically, it was a waste of time. Now the first day I went, I found a whole lot of brand new pants. I think you remember the pants that were in the bags. So I decided to go back again. I walked out with nothing because I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give the bins a break, you know, until this stuff ends, and just sell the stuff I have here and continue to get my shoes from my guy, and work it out from there.
Okay, so we only have a few more minutes left, and I still have a bunch of questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments for Thomas. So Nikki, I'm on Nikki's. No, Nikki has two more questions. So Nikki said, I'm pretty sure Thomas remembers because he says it was wonderful. And I had his heart by that day. But where was our first date, Thomas?
Oh, I can't remember the name of the area. I know how to get there. We walked all the way up the long street with all the small stores. It'll come to me in a minute. But we took that long walk, and then we sat on the stoop, and what did we eat?
We had burritos.
Yeah, we had burritos. But what's the name of that long strip, that area of Philly we went to? I can't remember the name of the area.
See, even me, I'm going like my mind just went blank. It's been like we're going into 9 years. For those who don't know, Thomas and I haven't even been together for 10 years yet. We're going into our 9th year. She said, the area is Manayunk and it's Main
there you
Street.
go. Thank you.
Manayunk is the area and it's Main Street. See, I know, but so we we went on our first. Thomas and I met online, and he was instantly in love just from the sound of my voice on the phone and the wonderful emails that I was sending him. We emailed and then we were on the phone. But we went to Main Street. And we went late and everything was closing. So there wasn't like a lot of seating because people were closing. The burrito store was open, and we walked down and we sat on like these stairs, which was like the fire escape type of stairs. And he was like, that kind of sealed something for him because like I didn't mind like sitting on the stairs. I'm like,
yeah, because I had gone through a lot of dating at the time after my divorce from my first wife, and I guess there was something about me that was attracting the crazy people. I don't know. After a few crazy dates, and I met Leslie, I'm like, she's pretty cool, you know. Well, I was hooked.
So we met in August.
Reel me in.
We met in August of 2012, and we were married November 2012. So that was, and this was the funny thing about it is he literally was like, I'm never getting married again. And within 3 weeks, he was like, I want to marry you. Like, wow. So that's our story. We're sticking with that. So, and every day is a journey process. So we're going into 9 years. August will be 9 years we met. November will be 9 years that we've been married. So, so this is the last question from Nikki. eBay. She said, on eBay, should I sell everything there or stick to a niche? And we were just talking about that. But
I think it's something that you have to discover as you sell. If you see that there's something that you're selling that sells repeatedly, you can make it a niche. Hooked on the first date. Yeah, I was. I was.
Come on, Wendy. I'm sipping some water.
I think it's just about figuring it out for yourself. I all the things I was selling over the years, like what I was selling 2 years ago. But when I started getting into the shoes, I'm like, this is really something. And I was watching another guy on YouTube. His name is Tino, the Soul Advisor, as in soles of a shoe. And I was looking at how he redid the shoes, and I was doing shoes like that. And I realized I didn't know there was such a market for used shoes because, I think shoes, foot fungus, blah, 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 but there's a huge market for used shoes. Then I'm thinking, yeah, but when you go bowling, you got to rent the shoes. So all you got to do is spray them with some Lysol and you're good to go. So I've kind of fallen into shoes, and I'm really leaning toward only doing shoes. So to answer your question, I think that you have to figure out, what's selling for you. Like, for example, I find that men's dress shirts don't sell for me. I've gotten so many dress shirts, they just don't sell. And I don't know it's because you can get them cheap someplace else, but I find shoes that are just from the dry cleaners. I find shirts rather just from the dry cleaners, shirts that are kind of new, and shirts just don't sell. So I'm pretty much giving up shirts. Jeans still sell for me kind of regularly, but shoes are the thing for me. So it took me all these years to figure out that's what I should be selling. So that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to figure it out.
Nice. So Lizette, when is your anniversary? Lizette this is her question to me. Oh no, that's Wendy with the crazy smile, laughing people. So she says, Leslie, will you remarry Andrew and I for our 25th anniversary? Oh, in January. For those who don't know it, I do have a certificate. I am ordained to marry people. I've offered that to my daughter. With the there is no virtual getting married because I would be doing some weddings for real, making a little bit of money. But it would be my pleasure. Thomas and I, we can fly on to Massachusetts for real. And this is Nikki Christie from Philly. Have you ever been to the New Jersey Convention Center where they have the wholesale shoes?
This is the first time hearing about it. Didn't know anything about it.
Well, Christy
Thank you.
Tell you all about that stuff.
Thank you, Christy. Didn't know anything about it. Just to give us some details through Leslie. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, and she goes to New York because she has a wholesale license, so she talks about that a lot in our group and on the chats. Cool. So yes. I would want to say, hey, Daniela, thanks for jumping in. Daniela and Quimby had a great live last night. Daniela's first live. Yay. Once you get through the first one, it's all golden after that. Yep. Wait, look. Okay, I'm not trying to start any wedding, marital problems right there. You married to her. She is a trip. She and I will be talking tomorrow. She didn't even ask Andrew yet. Lizette asked me to marry him. Okay, work it out. So my question is, for people who don't know, how many children do you have, Thomas? Look at him. Look.
I don't know. There's just so many of them.
Wait, first of all, let's break it down into categories. How many biological children do you have?
I have 4 biological children.
Even Julian's like, he doesn't even know. Wow.
Yeah. I have four biological.
4 biological.
6.
How many? Some people
five, 6 actual stepchildren.
6 stepchildren.
And 1, 2, 3. I would call them steps as well, but I was never married to their mother.
Yeah.
So, and 3 more besides that.
Yeah, he helped raise. I mean, it's great to have like a mentor or a father figure, and he does. Yesterday, the phone was ringing on Sunday. I just let him. I gave him breakfast, and I said, look, every time I come into the room, he was on the phone. So that's like beautiful. That's love. And even when the children as adults talk about how mean he was, they keep coming back because that was all the tough love that he gave them, and they just keep coming back. Thomas really is a person that you can depend on. He does what he says he's going to do. And I do call him boring often because he's very predictable. One thing with Thomas is he tells you the truth. If you don't want the truth told to you, then don't ask Thomas. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because sometimes I'll go like, he'll say something, I'll go, I can't believe he actually said yes to that. But that's just like how he is. As a woman, we want to hear like, if I say something, he'll just go yes. And I go, oh, okay. So it's like that deep, huh? So he's reliable like that. And he is like boring, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like he's where he says he's going to go. He does the same stuff repetitively, and he, even with the teenagers, like he says he's not going to do something when he gets tired of driving them around. If they ask him, he's there for them. So he is very committed. And Lizette said Andrew's the same way. So that's hard. And that's really a good foundation of these building, especially for the females that we've raised, so they know what to look for. Knucklehead.
Hey, that's one of my kids there, Julian Fitch.
Yeah, Julian. That's why when he said, wow, like, Dad, you don't even know how many of us it is. So that's why I threw that out there, because he like, me, I look, besides,
I don't know. I never actually sat there and counted everybody.
Yeah. Cool.
It's
okay, so
many.
I have, and if you have any questions before our last couple of minutes, put them in the comments. I do want to put out a couple things. I am selling these custom tie-dye shirts, 25 with free shipping, small, medium, large, extra large. Pick your colors. There's a link in my bio on Instagram. People have been requesting, because if I get an order today or tomorrow, your order will go out by Friday. And tomorrow I'm going to have Ty from Deluxe Huntress on. And that is the June 24th, June 25th, Thursday. I'm going to have the over 50 ladies. Wendy and Lizette are here in the chat. They will be on with Terry, Lori, and I'm always forgetting somebody. And Sandra. Sandra started it all. So every month I'm going to be doing some stuff. I'm looking for some women who are 40 to 49. And I'm also looking for some people to have a colorism conversation. Next Monday, I'm having a cultural conversation. I have 15 people so far. There are 5 more slots available. We're going to be talking about culture, love, and racism. A very, hopefully it's calm, but we all start the conversation. And Lizette's going to be there with Andrew. A couple counts as one, so you can bring your spouse. Send me a DM. There is no link in my bio for that. That's by special invitation only, because I want it to be like a nice balance of people from all over. Okay.
That should be interesting.
Yeah, it definitely should be interesting. Well, that is my thing. As long as no one's cussing at each other, then that's where the conversation will flow. And then also, if you want to be part of that conversation, just to know, we're going to be on Zoom, but it's going to be recorded as an episode to be released here on a Reseller's Passion YouTube channel. So don't be shy. Let's get the conversation going. So Lizette had 2 questions. What was your favorite childhood toy? Very interesting question. Was
well, for me?
Gosh, don't even get him. Oh, okay, I just remember it. Let's see if he's going to answer what I think he's going to.
It's my race car set.
Yes.
Oh man, I had the best race car set. My father got it from someplace. I don't know where he was. That's why I love that man. But it was the size of a single bed, so I just would slide under the bed. And I had the Green Hornet car. I had the Batman car. I had a old panel van. I had a Mustang. I had a Corvette. Oh man, all my friends would come over and we would race all day. And I got it for Christmas. So all during that winter season, all my friends would be in the house. We'd be racing. Yeah. And also I like the first bicycle my father had, because to me a bicycle did and still represents freedom. Before I was able to drive, I had a bicycle so I can go anywhere I wanted on the bicycle. But yeah, it's my race car set. I want one now.
Yeah, you see how his face, that's a really good something to think about. But you see how his face, light up. He loved, I know that was the story he was going to tell. And it's so great to have these memories that, our parents, a nice memory of childhood. He talks about this race car set, and he's still friends today with his friends that came over and they, did the race cars together. So that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then Lizette has another question, from a total different question. It's 2-parter. What is your best flip to date? The best thing you've sold to date? You
know what it is. Those speakers.
Oh, I didn't know that what it was.
The Sonus Faber speakers. Sonus Faber is a brand of speakers that all the audio people know about. But these things were huge and they were heavy and they were extremely pretty, and they had spiked feet on them to keep them moving because they vibrated so much that they would actually move. So they had spikes on them. But that was my best flip, and I got them at the bins. And everybody was ignoring them because they wanted $25 for them, which was extreme amount. Because you always see speakers. Oh, I'm not going to pay $25. Well, I didn't know what they were. So I says, I'm going to pay $25. I bought those things and I sold them for, check this out, $800.
Yeah.
Yep. Now they got damaged.
Yeah, that was the one.
They got damaged. They returned them to me and they paid me the $800. Then I sold them again.
Yeah, with the damage.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to take insurance out on things.
Yeah.
UPS, FedEx, wherever you deliver, and use those shipping places, UPS and FedEx. Not that the United States Post Office is not going to do it for you. Nikki will tell you, but you want to just make sure, because you don't want to go back and forth. But he got his money back, and again, he sold them damaged because people knew what they were worth. So that's a good one. And then the second part of that, it could be the same question. So that was your best flip. What has been your favorite flip?
Same question, same answer.
Same answer.
Yeah. If I could get another pair of those, because when I look up the comps, I still see them. Some of those speakers are worth $4,000, $5,000, $10,000, and they're the speakers that they use in concert halls and in Europe and opera houses.
Yeah. Wow.
So and they had the most incredible sound I've ever heard. I'm like, wow, what are these things? So.
Yeah. So this is the last thing I'm going to say about like our business, not our business, but in terms of reselling or any business that you're in, you have to take a chance on something. That's what I like about going to the bin. Sometimes it gives me like, a phobia or whatever, because it can be a little bit crazy. And especially now, I'm pretty sure it's like wild with everything going on. But if you go somewhere, stop focusing on the same stuff. You have to open your mind to new possibilities, because if you don't, you're letting stuff go. I found some amazing things at the Goodwill outlet, and you get an eye for it, a feel for fabric or something. The ugliest thing in the room is the thing that's going to sell the best. So don't look at it through your eyes. Look at it from the customer's perspective, and you never know what a find you're going to find. So Lizette, New England Betty Boop, is my moderator. I want to say I appreciate you. Thumbs up, everyone. Is 14 people in the chat, so it should be 14 thumbs up. I want to let everybody know I appreciate you for coming through. Check out, I have great content. I'm going to be doing a video this week on Etsy, and I'm starting a new series called Conversation with Friends for my podcast. I haven't been doing it lately because I've been refocusing. So I have some new episodes coming out this week. New content all around. And yes, Quimby, I'm very busy, but it keeps me sane, it keeps me zen, and it keeps me happy, because it's just taking me to where the direction that my future is headed. Any last minute words, sweetie?
I wish I knew everyone's name. I'm going to try to learn some names when I come on again, because you keep throwing out these names.
Friends. They're my friends.
Okay, but I like to just be able to say hi. I'm like, how does she remember all these?
Because they're actual people that I tell you that. Sometimes people jump on, and I don't know everyone, because there was a couple people. I just happen to know who Julian was. People who don't have a face are usually people who just create an account. But the people who are on today are actually people that I talk to at least 2 times a week. Lizette texts me almost every day. I talk to Wendy a couple times a week. Christy's from Philly, so I know who she is. Wanda's from Philly, so I know who she is. The Pashton is Andrew, and the list just goes on. And that's the thing about building community. Daniela's my friend. Nikki's my friend. These are actually almost everybody in the chat has my telephone number, and I tell them that's very rare, because I don't just give it to anybody. So that's how you build your community, by getting to know who people are. So everyone, follow everyone. Check out the Grateful Queen. Check out Daniela, who is Chronicles of a Reseller, Thrifters Villa. Just check out everyone. Thank you, friends, for joining us tonight. I appreciate you. And follow Thomas at Posture Dude X. Once he gets a little bit more social, he'll get to know you when he can squeeze in time for social media. So take care, friends. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.